thing called life. And I'm happy to be here with you to start off another great week of Wake Up Call live broadcasts every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I hope you're having yourselves a fantastic Monday, coming off a great weekend. I don't know why people don't like Mondays. I mean, I get it, right? I mean, I get it in the sense of like, oh man, I got to go back to work. But I love what I do and I do what I love. So, I feel very blessed and thankful to God for that. But I want you to be able to do, but also I want you to be able to do that, right? I want you to be able to do what you love and love what you do. So if you wake up in the morning and you got to go back to work on a Monday morning and you're like, oh man, I don't want to go back to this place. I want to retire from this place. I want to move away from this place. Well, then it's time to find something else. Life is so special and every second counts. And so with the fact that every second counts, I implore you to actually spend those seconds doing the things that you love to do and doing, enjoying your job, enjoying your life, enjoying the people that you're with, enjoying what you are spending your time on. So if you're out there this morning and you do not like that job that you just drove all the way to, or maybe you're doing it at home, then maybe it's time to look for another one, because doing what you love and loving what you do, that's the only way to do it in my book and in my opinion. And I fought very hard to get to this place, and God has been incredibly good to me. Hard work does pay off, and teamwork does pay off with the big guy. So I'm very thankful and I'm very appreciative this morning. I hope you are too, and I welcome you into Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets that thing called life. Cafe Kubal available to you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all of those in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse. So, however you connect with Cafe Kubal, make sure you connect with them today and show them some love and let them know that you appreciate that local flavor. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today. I'm always going out there getting myself my chais. Love the chais at Cafe Kubal. They're made in-house. The spices and the syrups and everything that they put together to make them what they are made right there in-house, which I think is incredible and really awesome and tastes so incredibly good. So I'm always a big fan of everything that is at Cafe Kubal. Big thanks to them for the work that they do. So, with that being said, we have two awesome guests bringing us through day one of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for this week. It's actually, believe it or not, folks, it's our 109th episode. It's our 109th episode of this year. So, each year we do somewhere around 250 live morning shows. And on top of that, we do shows at Avicoli's with the Liverpool athletic programs. We do shows at the Wildcat Sports Pub with West Genesee's Wildcats. We do shows with the Beeville Bees at Pizza Man Pub, and we also do shows at Cafe Kubal, but those are in the morning too. So with all of those, including some of the things we may do for PB&J's Lunchbox and whatnot, we do over 250 shows per year. And so we just hit our 109th episode of 2022. So very excited for that. This is episode 109. So looking forward to bringing this one to you. And I thank you for being here as always and appreciate you so much. Well, like I said, we have two awesome guests to take us through the first day of this week's shows, and the first full week of June, I might add. The first one we got up here is Mr. Nate Champion. Nate Champion is going to be joining us in just a little bit, around 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, as he tells us all about his camp that he has for the kids coming up here. Very excited for that. Prospect camp, a kids camp, and a team camp. So the Nate Champion basketball camps, the prospect camp is June 11th, so that's coming up here on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then another prospect camp will happen on August 7th from 1 to 6 p.m., The kids camp will be June 27th to 29th. Grades 1 through 4 are at 8:30 a.m. to noon. Grades 5 through 8 are from 1 to 4:30 p.m. each of those days from June 27th to June 29th. And then the team camp is August 5th and August 6th. Varsity and JV teams welcome. Times are to be determined. For more information, you can contact Nate Champion directly at champinj@lemoyne.edu. That's champinj@lemoyne.edu. You can also email swankba@lemoyne.edu. That's swank, SWANKBA at lemoyne.edu. And to go online and register, you could go to natechampionbasketball.com. That's natechampionbasketball.com. So we'll be talking about those camps and so much more coming up here with an extra dose of your Dolphin Dive for this week. You're used to having it every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Well, you're going to get another dose of it today because we have the opportunity to have Lemoyne men's basketball head coach Nate Champion on the show to talk about his camp. So very excited to do that here in just a few minutes. And then in hour number 2, we'll be joined by Dave Pasiak. Dave Pasiak going to be joining this show here as he is our resident NBA analyst, and we'll be talking about the NBA Finals now tying the series 1-1. NBA Finals series is tied here 1-1 after Golden State wins a big-time game with their backups in the game toward the end here. The backups out there for the Celtics and the backups out there for the Warriors as the Warriors take Game 2. They lost Game 1 at home in Golden State. They took Game 2 at home. So the Boston Celtics taking care of business the first time around, and then the Boston Celtics down by 2 at half, 52-50, and after that, it just looked ugly from there as the Boston Celtics lost by 19, 107-88, and at the end of the game looks closer than it was because that game got ugly, and it got ugly relatively quick in the second half as the Golden State Warriors were able to put out a pretty substantial lead there. So we'll be talking with Dave Pasiak about that game and about moving forward into Boston and his thoughts as well as the overall NBA. I put up a poll and I would love to get your thoughts on this. You can vote on it by going to facebook.com/wakeupcalldt or just at wakeupcalldt on Facebook. You can also go to Twitter at CallDT and follow me there. That's at CALLDT. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this as we have put up a poll. And who would you rather have on your team? Who would you rather have on your team? Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, or Kevin Durant? And it's in today's NBA. So in today's NBA, who would you rather have on your team? You got to pick one of them. So would you rather have Steph Curry on your team right now? Would you rather have Luka Doncic? Would you rather have LeBron James or Kevin Durant? One of those four you have to pick. Let me know who you'd rather have out there, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that. So definitely send those over to us. You could vote on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and you could vote on our Instagram story at WakeUpCall_DT. So really any one of those you could vote there. And just for the record to state here, I would have voted for Steph Curry. I accidentally voted for LeBron James. So if you guys can see my vote, I just want to be clear on who I voted on. I actually was voting for Steph Curry, and when I was checking it to make sure that it worked, I accidentally hit the button and voted for LeBron James, ironically. So we'll see who Dave would vote for as we get him on here in just a little bit on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In hour number 2, around 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Dave will carry us through the rest of the show and let us know exactly who he's going for. And, well, we can talk about Game 3. I shouldn't say who he's going for, but we could talk about Game 3 and what his thoughts are and where things are at right now and what he saw from Golden State and if the Celtics can bounce back from this. I mean, we're looking at a series right now between the Celtics and the Warriors in these NBA Finals. That's it's obviously interesting that the Celtics took Game 1 as, here are the Warriors that have been very relevant over the last, many years in the NBA since getting Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and whatnot. So we know how effective the Golden State Warriors have been, but then, you're a team that goes through a bunch of injuries, you don't make the playoffs, and now you sit here and you look at them and you say, okay, well, where do we go from here? What's going to happen from here? And they seem to be playing their best basketball right now, arguably, to some people. But you look at Boston going into Golden State, and they won the game 120-108, so they win by double digits, win by 12, and then Golden State gives back that favor there, returns the favor, and ends up winning by, in this next game here, like I said, wins by 19. So interesting how this has happened, though, that it's been double-digit win on one side, then double-digit win on the other side, as opposed to any team just really looking like they have control of this series early on. So the series is back even. It's like starting a new series, and we'll see where the teams go from here, but they've definitely been keeping it interesting, and I'm excited to talk with Dave Pasiak about that, as well as the NBA in general. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will be joined by Nate Champion, our first guest of this first full week of June, an extra piece of Dolphin Dive, where we dive into the stories of coaches, student athletes, administration, as well as future Dolphins and alumni, all connected with Moyne College. We have the opportunity to speak with Nate Champion today about his basketball camps that are coming up this summer, some of them coming up this week. So we'll get into all of that right after this fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life, and always happy to have you here inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios. You know Cafe Kubal is found on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and on 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse. You can also get in touch with them by going to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse to their drive-through location. And of course, you can also find them out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building is what I call it. So make sure you head out there today and support local. With that being said, and speaking of supporting local, I'm happy to have my first guest of the week here on the broadcast this morning, and that is inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and that is Mr. Nate Champion. Nate joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. He is no stranger to the broadcast. Of course, in our multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins, we have a lot of time that we get to spend with Nate, and today he is here to talk about his basketball camps, which I'm very, very excited to get into. Once again, the Prospect Camp is here for us on June 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on August 7th from 1 to 6 p.m. The Kids Camp is June 27th to 29th. Grades 1 through 4 are there from 8:30 a.m. to noon, and grades 5 through 8 from 1 to 4:30 p.m. on each of those days. And the Team Camp, August 5th and August 6th, varsity and JV teams are welcome, and this is going to be located at the Moyne College Events Center in a return to Moyne after everything that we've dealt with COVID and whatnot. The camps are on campus at Lemoyne. You can go and get more information and register by going to NateChampionBasketball.com. That's NateChampionBasketball.com. So, with that being said, the head coach of the Moyne College Dolphins men's basketball team and a good friend is here with us this morning, and I'm always happy to have Nate on the show. Nate, how are we doing today?
Good, Dan. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, and we had you here for a second, so go ahead and we'll welcome you back in. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing pretty well, Dan. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely, and Nate, first and foremost here, just what you can say about why you do these camps. And I mean, obviously I know there's coaches all over the country that are doing this, but for you, just the special meaning that these camps have for you, because you got a ton of work. You have recruiting, you have preparation, you have your season that takes a lot out of you, but you want to take the time to take the time. So bring me into your why for these camps.
Absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, we want to grow the game, and bring joy to kids playing basketball. And I think there's no better way to do that than having them all together and, creating a fun environment where we can teach the game and allow kids to enjoy it. There's no pressure. All skill levels are welcome. It doesn't matter if, you know how to shoot from the three-point line or you don't know how to shoot at all. We teach it throughout our camps, and, basic fundamentals as well as, playing team basketball too, and teaching the game. And I think that's just the most important part for me, is just to give back and allow kids to have a great experience and have fun just playing the game of basketball like it should be played.
And like you said, teaching those things. If you don't know how to do something on the floor, you're there to teach them. You're there to help them. In today's world, everybody has an opinion, and everybody wants to share that opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. So when we live in a world where maybe the expectation is that we should all be able to do everything great or don't even come out there, how do you break through that? How do you break through saying to a kid, hey, you know what? If you don't know how to do this, or you're not comfortable with this, like, let us get you there. Let us teach you. In the world we live in today, where people are so opinionated on everybody else's life instead of taking care of their own, how do you reach out to a kid and say, hey, it's all right if you don't know it. We'll figure this out together.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. The almost like, how could you thought of like, wow, you don't know how to do this. Where at our camps and the way that we teach, I mean, we want to give kids the confidence to ask questions, and we're going to include you regardless of what your skill level is. And I think that comes with just the individualized teaching that you're going to get at our camps. If we see somebody that is struggling with a certain concept, we have no problem pulling them aside, helping them out, and trying to teach them one-on-one while other people are there with the group. And then we want to give them the confidence in themselves that, hey, you can do this. Just because you don't know how to do it now doesn't mean it's impossible for you. And it's a skill that, basketball is a great sport. It's a fun sport, team sport. But you get to enjoy just the game at our camps. It's a fun environment. It's an encouraging environment. And that's something that all of our campers and our counselors are being taught at the camp, and it's something that we talk about all the time here at Lemoyne. Just because somebody is struggling with something, that doesn't mean, hey, we just bypass them. We don't do that. We try to take the time and really give them the confidence in themselves to step outside of their comfort zone and enjoy learning something new and embracing that challenge. And then also, the joy that comes of them overcoming that and, performing whatever it was that they were struggling with to a level that they feel happy with. And that's something, that I love seeing. At the end of the day is just, the kids that come in and they're a little shy at the beginning, and then the last day you can't get them to get out of the gym. They want to be there, they want to have fun, and they don't want camp to stop, and that's the joy that I find in doing the camps. You see these kids kind of, come out of their shell and you get to know them. And then, that creates a sense of community here at Lemoyne as well, and some buzz around the basketball program. And when you get those kids that come back for games in the winter and you see them there and they come up and say hi, it's just, I don't know, there's a satisfaction that comes from it. So it's a great opportunity for us to get back to the community as well.
Yeah, coming here from Nate Champion this morning, the Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach, talking about his upcoming camp opportunities that he has here for us this summer. Nate, what is your why? I know you just described a little bit of it there, but with everything that you have on your schedule, why do you do it? Why do you stay passionate about, teaching people and reaching out to people and building new bridges and networking and why do this? Why put more on your plate? What is it about these camps that really energizes you and makes you want to be a part of it?
Honestly, I just think about, when I was younger, when I was a kid, and, I came from a pretty small town in Indiana, and there were camps that were ran at our high school, and I just remember being so excited to go to camp and so excited to learn something new and to, play the game of basketball. And the game of basketball has taken me all over the world, from Indiana to New York to Australia to Florida. So it's a game that can open up so many avenues. And for me, it's just seeing people enjoy the game of basketball the way that I do and teaching that sport in a way that is fun and encouraging, with no pressure, I think is something that I just thoroughly enjoy. And, when you get to see kids having fun with the sport that you love, it's a great joy right there. And then to see those kids eventually grow up and to see some of them take that opportunity and run with it, to play at a higher level and do all that type of stuff it's really cool and something that I thoroughly enjoy.
And when you look at that, when you look at everything that you get to do here, to break it down a little bit more for people that need to know a little bit more information, you have the prospect camp, the kids camp, and the team camp. Bring me into each of those three different experiences you have this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So the prospect camp is more for high school kids that are looking to, start being recruited and to see, where they kind of stack up against some other high school players as well. It's an opportunity for them to get on campus here at Lemoyne, and there's an admissions tour that goes along with that. So you get information about our school campus tour, and then obviously our coaching staff and some of our players will be here to coach guys through skills and drills, and then we'll break down into 2-on-2, 3-on-3, all the way up to 5-on-5 to end the day. So we get a thorough look at all the players that are going to be there, and it's a great opportunity for our coaching staff to get to know more local kids as well, and to see them play in our gym, which is nice. And then also, when you get into the kids camp, we just broke that down. That's going to be a very fun environment. That's going to be your grade school kids with the first and fourth graders being first in the day, and then the fifth through eighth graders being after them. And, again, it's going to be a fun environment where we're going to learn, skills, and you're going to do your skill breakdown things. And then there's going to be a lot of games and different events that go on throughout the camp. So another great opportunity for younger kids to get in and learn the game from our coaching staff. And we'll actually have players here that are working that as well. So it'll be a great opportunity to see them interact with the younger players in the community too, and to get their names out there as well, and to create some excitement for those guys when they get into the season, and they kind of have some built-in fans in the stands when we get to our season, which is really cool, and it's a great experience for everybody. But that's definitely more of a fun environment where you're not getting recruited, you're not doing any of that type of stuff. You're just there to enjoy basketball, have fun at camp, bring your friends. We put it at a very reasonable price. It's only $125 for the 3 days. So, it's to get people back out and to, get camps back going again and to have them in our gym, and have kids get excited for Lemoyne basketball and to teach the younger generation about basketball and to have some fun with it there as well. So I'm really looking forward to that camp. And then our team camp, which is awesome for us as well too, having varsity and JV teams here. It's a 2-day camp. You can play on both days. You can play just one day. You can bring, 2 teams. You can bring 1 team. It doesn't matter. We'll accommodate regardless. You're guaranteed 3 games each day. And that's a great opportunity for the high school teams, especially around the central New York area and the upstate area to come here and play. We'll have college referees and official referees here. We're not it'll be like real games, and it's a great opportunity to again get high school students on campus to see Lemoyne and showcase what Lemoyne has to offer, but also an opportunity for high school teams to get together and spend a day or two just playing together and playing teams that they may not play all the time, or they may not see during the regular season. And we're looking for a really competitive 2 days with a lot of good basketball being played here at Ted Grant Court.
Yeah, and that coming again from Nate Champion, the Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach, talking about his camps that are coming up here. A lot of different opportunities to connect with Moyne College, with Nate, and with, making sure that you have your skills and everything set as you move forward here. Like you said, looking at a bunch of different pieces of this and how people can get involved. The prospect camp, going out there trying to, get recruited, get your name out there, let people see what you're all about as you move forward and hope for the opportunity for a college berth there for you to continue on and play in your career. And of course, that coming with the opportunity to tour campus, the kids camp where we get to see the youth and grow them up and see them together. And then the team camp, like you said, teams that may not play each other here in the area have the opportunity to come in and go up against each other for either 1 day or 2 days. So a lot of different ways to get involved. And I brought up before they could go to natechampionbasketball.com. Overall, we've talked about a bunch of different pieces of it, but what can you say about spaces you may have left and why people should make sure that they get on there today and sign up either for their team or individually to be a part of this?
Absolutely. There's spaces available for each camp. We're trying not to put a cap on any of the registrations. We want as many people to attend as possible. And, I think the biggest thing for each camp is just the individualized attention that you'll get here at our basketball camps, and the prospect camp being able to be seen by a Division II coaching staff, as well as other coaches that may be coming in to watch as well. And with the kids camp, just an opportunity to have some fun, and parents, you can get your kids out of the house for a little bit and allow them to enjoy just being on the basketball court and learning the game and having fun and just learning the team sport as well. And then for the team camp, I think it's just a great opportunity to, again, get your team out here, have a competitive, day or two that you want with your team, and coaches the ability to coach them up and to see really what you have going into next season. And it's a great opportunity for us here at Lemoyne to see, the local talent and to see players that we may not have heard of before, or see some younger players that are coming up that we can put on our radar. So again, great opportunity to, come out and just enjoy playing the game of basketball, showcase your talents, your abilities, and even learn the game in a fun, enjoyable atmosphere. So we're really looking forward to our camps this year.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about it off the air, the fact that the get back, right? The opportunity to have these camps in general and the opportunity to have them back at Lemoyne. Just, for you personally, what all of that it boils down to for you to be able to have the camp when you know that these things have been taken away from us in these past couple of years. So what does it mean for you to coach at the camp, and what does it mean for you to coach at the camp back at Lemoyne? Because these are two things that were not available over the couple of years here, the pandemic and things that we had to go through.
I think it's everything to have people back on campus and being able to showcase our beautiful campus that we're lucky to have here. It's kind of a hidden gem here in Syracuse, and for obvious reasons, we don't get as much attention as other places here, which is okay. But we have a beautiful campus, and it's a way to get people back on campus and to grow the Moyne College name, while also growing, the involvement that we have in the community here as far as our basketball program and getting some attention back with the Lemoyne basketball program. So, we haven't even had camp here at Lemoyne the past 2 years, unfortunately, because of COVID, which is what you mentioned. But it's a great opportunity to get some buzz around the program and create some relationships and friendships that, we can see grow over the years, and to create some excitement around the men's basketball program here, because we have so many great things going on, and that's just on top of having a extremely competitive team as well. So it's going to be great to get some recognition back in the community and to grow relationships in the community, and see what the youth has to offer, as well as they come into Lemoyne and get to see Lemoyne and what we have to showcase here.
What can you say about the talent here, Nate? Like you said, you're coming from Indiana and whatnot, and you played at Lemoyne. When, being the coach here, being back here and running this Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball program as the figurehead of it, what do you know about the talent in the area, and what can you say, positive-wise about the talent that we have in Central and Upstate New York and the potential of it? Because I know you have some of it on your team.
Absolutely. I think you're starting to see it a little bit with just our team. We have two local guys on the team right now, and Luke Sutherland, and we'll have a freshman in Nate Fouts from Skinny Atlas. So both local guys, which is great to have back. And I think it just speaks for the talent that we have in this area. I was at the sectional games this past year over at OCC, and got to see a lot of new faces that I haven't been able to see or just didn't know about in the past year, just with the lack of being able to go out and actually watch games and high school games and things like that here. So it was great to just be back and to see the talent that we have just in our own backyard. And that's something that we've made a focus on for our recruitment efforts, and just being able to be more involved with the growth of the local talent as well is a huge opportunity for us. And it's something that is unique to Lemoyne, because we have an opportunity to recruit in this area, and we're the furthest west in our conference. So we have some recruiting avenues here that not a lot of other people have that are in our league. So I think that the talent here it's very, very competitive, and it has the potential to become very recognizable throughout the country.
Yeah, coming here from Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach Nate Champion. Nate, before I let you go, coming off of speaking on the camp, I want to get your thoughts on the NBA as a whole. We were talking about it a little bit off the air. The NBA Finals obviously going on, and the series at the time that we're talking here is tied 1-1. Boston went into Golden State, went over to California in game number one, won by double digits, got a 120-108 victory. And then yesterday, we're down by 2 at the break, ended up tying it early on, 52-52. And then after tying it, gave it up almost immediately, 54-52. And then it got way out of hand and we saw a bunch of backups coming out, starters getting to rest on Golden State and on Boston, and a 19-point victory if the starters had stayed out there for Golden State. I can imagine would have stayed in the 20s, if not 30. What's going on, in your opinion, as a basketball lover, player, and coach? The NBA right now, Golden State had 2 games. Boston came in and spanked them, and then Boston had an embarrassing game too. They had to Boston for the next couple games here. What's your take on Game 1 and Game 2, and how both teams won by double digits, and Golden State didn't look good at home, and then Boston looked completely out of it in Game 2?
Yeah, I think it just goes to show just what level that both teams are at. I mean, the fact that, Boston puts that run on in the fourth quarter of Game 1 and, extends the lead and steals Game 1 on the Warriors' home court. It's, and Jason Tatum had 12 points, I think it was. That I think is just a testament to the level of play that we're seeing in both games. What you're seeing when these teams go on the run is the ball movement and defense. Usually it's one team that has the ball movement, they're knocking down shots, and now all of a sudden the other team is not getting those quality shots that both teams are more than capable of getting, and those runs happen very quickly. With both of these teams being high-powered offenses. So last night you see the Warriors, they were clicking on all cylinders. And when Jordan Poole hits a half-court shot and is skipping his way into the huddle, it's usually not a good sign for the opposing team when you're playing the Warriors. So, you're starting to see both those teams, though, when they're on, it's tough to handle, and they can put a lot of points up in a short amount of time. And I think that's why you're starting to see some skewed, scores at the end of the game. And it goes both ways, though. You saw that with Boston in Game 1, putting a huge run on in the fourth quarter to kind of run away with it at the end. And then, Golden State last night with a unbelievable third quarter where everybody was making shots, and Boston just kind of went cold for a few minutes, and that's really all it takes against Golden State. So it's a fun series, I think, getting back into Boston. The Garden is going to be rocking, and that atmosphere when it comes to the NBA Finals and Boston in general when it comes to championship seasons, that town always just gets a little bit rowdy, and so I think it'll be tough for Golden State to take both of them in Boston, but it's also a great opportunity for the Celtics to get another one and hopefully get a step closer for them as well. So I think what you're going to see over the next 5 games is going to be a highly competitive series, and there's already a little bit of chippiness going on, which is always fun to watch as well, the competitive side of these guys coming out. And, this is the highest level of basketball in the world. So it's a lot of fun to see it being played. And the two teams that, that are playing are just the style of basketball is so much fun to watch, with just the ball movement and the high-powered offense to go along with the effort and the physicality on the defensive end. Two very special teams to watch, and a lot of fun for someone like me who just enjoys seeing the game played the right way.
Yeah, and the scoring, incredible. I mean, you brought it up, Jason Tatum, 12 in a win, and then 28 in a loss. 12 in 42 minutes in a victory in Game 1 for the Celtics, and then 28 in 34 minutes, and they lose the game, but that's because the rest of the team just was atrocious. The starting 5, very underwhelming. The Marcus Smarts, Al Horfords, Jaylen Brown did less. So that's something to be talked about, and we'll be discussing it in hour number 2. Final point here that I wanted to get to, though, is I put out a poll last night, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, is you have to pick one of these players, and you can feel free to describe why as deep as you want. But one of these players, you're an NBA GM right now, Nate Champion, and I'm going to put you in that seat. You have to have one of these players to lead your franchise, only one. Steph Curry, LeBron James, and this is in today's NBA. This is the right now NBA. This isn't like 10 years ago LeBron or anything like that. So in today's NBA, you have Steph Curry, you have LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Kevin Durant. Of those four players, which one as an NBA GM would you pick to lead your franchise, and why?
Right now?
Right now.
I think it's very hard to pass up on Luka Doncic at this point just because he has so much left in the tank.
Yeah.
And he's already he's playing at he's top probably 5 in the world at this point. I mean, just unbelievable talent, unbelievable player, competitive side that you saw coming out in him. And with him, I think too, he's still learning kind of how to, love the game and love the process of, preparing yourself to that level of, physicality and, your cardio and sustainability and all that stuff that goes into it. My favorite player out of all those guys is Steph Curry. I mean, just watching what he does and how he single-handedly changes scouting reports of other teams is unbelievable. I would say if I were the GM now, I would go with Luka Doncic, but it's really hard to pass up on any of those guys. I mean, they're all unbelievable talents. And I think the one thing that makes it hard for me to be wholehearted into the Luka side of it would be just the type of person that Steph Curry is and the way that he handles himself on and off the floor.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way too. He's an easy guy to like. And it doesn't help or doesn't hurt him, that he can make shots from 50 feet standing still. So he does change the scouting reports. I think, you're seeing it in Golden State has done just such a great job of putting unbelievable pieces around him as well. But I would say if I was the GM right now, Luka would be hard not to put there.
All right. I like the answer. I can respect that. I thought you may go there. Makes sense with Luka having, like you said, so much left in the tank, but hard to pass up on a guy like Steph Curry and the shots that he makes. And last night, third quarter, coming around the bend in that quick screen and just launching that shot and looking at it and being like any other player shooting that shot. In most cases, nobody's going to yell at LeBron because, let's face it, he's his own head coach. But
Yep.
But in most cases, somebody takes a shot like that. You're a head coach. Somebody takes that shot at any point in the game, you grab their jersey and go, hey, don't ever shoot that again. You know what I mean? Like in most cases, it's like, don't take that shot. But in Steph Curry's case, that man can shoot from my backyard here in central New York, and I expect that shot to go in California. So
it's unbelievable the shots that he can make and just the art that he has crafted in the jump shot, and he's changed the game, honestly. And the Warriors as a team have changed the way that people look at the game. I know if I would have taken that shot, it would have probably landed in the real expensive seats, probably knocked somebody's drink over. So, unbelievable just what he can do as far as scoring the basketball and his ability to shoot. And if he's on my team, I would probably allow Steph Curry to take that shot anytime he wanted. But, if one of my guys did that, it better go in. That's my kind of thing. So, if you're taking that shot, make it, and we won't have any issues. If we're missing it, though, I might look at you and be like, really? That was the one we went with there. But, Unbelievable.
That's it. In high school, we were playing. I was playing for St. Joe's, and we went to Immaculate Conception, and I got the ball, and my point guard would pass it to him, and he's like, "Shoot it, Matt Casalia." Shout out to Matt. And Matt would pass me the ball, and he'd be like, "Shoot it when I give it to you, because that's my shot." That's what I pride myself on. I'm not listen. Steph shoots from Germany, and it hits Detroit, but I love shooting threes, and I love testing myself. And I remember one time he passed me the ball, and I passed it back. I was pissed. I was kind of upset because like our coach, we didn't have the greatest coach there, and he wasn't really great at playing guys. If he saw the effort and he saw what you did in practice, he still had his favorites, and that was tough for me. So I got out there, and he passed me the ball, and I was kind of pissed. So I'm like, no, I passed it back to him. He passed it to me. I passed it back to him. He passed it back to me. And he kind of gave me this nudge. He was like, shoot it. And so I didn't see where I was when he passed it to me the last time. And I was right by half court. And I was on the left side of half court. And I was just inside the line, and I launched it. And I heard my coach go, no. And then it went in, and he was like, okay. And so I remember that. I remember the fans, everybody was like, ah! And then it was like, yeah. So like you said, when you make it, everybody's like, heck yeah. But then it was funny because I turned around and I looked at like our visitor section, and I kind of just shook my head and smirked. And I was like, that kind of throw your hands up in the air. Like that's high school, that's college, that's pro. Like you just turn around and you go, hey bro, it went in. So I'll never forget that shot where they're like, no. And then he's like, all right. And I looked at him and I was like, I know he's going to yell at me for taking that shot, but I just looked over there like, I made it. So stop right now. We all got those. I hope you had one of those shots, Nate. I hope you had one of those moments where you looked over and you're like, hey, I made it. So back off.
I've had many of those. I wasn't too shy shooting the ball, so yeah, there's a few, and obviously each year there's a few that happens with me while I'm on the sideline too. But those are always laughable moments after the game when you're reflecting on them and that how did that shot go in, or gosh, I was about to sub that guy out when he shot that shot, and luckily he made it. So. Yeah. And I think that's just part of the game that's awesome, is the ability to make shots and circus shots that go in, and it can change the momentum of the game. So it's a great story, though.
Yeah, there's nothing like, and pickup ball too. When my friend Tommy was like he's telling Josh, his cousin, he was like, go guard Dan. He's like, I'm not guarding him. He's too far out there. He's like, go guard him. I said, and I just looked at him and I smirked. I go, I will literally shoot this shot all day. Like, I will gladly shoot this shot all day. So with that love of the game times the millionth degree of what Steph Curry is, and watching him play, it's like when you love to shoot threes and you love to go out there and challenge yourself, and you see him, I mean, he's so comfortable, he's so cool, he's so relaxed. And remember it all, folks, is that some of us that are true basketball fans watched him play at Davidson. So I definitely remember that tournament and the Davidson Wildcats and everything they were doing in the A-10 to make it fun. So with that being stated, one more time, Prospect Camp, June 11th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and August 7th, 1 to 6 p.m. The Prospect Camp is for those of you that want to tour campus and are obviously looking to be recruited and whatnot. So it gets you out there, get some film out there, gets you in front of collegiate coaches, and gives you an opportunity to see what Lemoyne is all about as a whole. The Kids Camp, June 27th to 29th, grades 1 through 4 from 8:30 a.m. to noon, and grades 5 through 8 from 1 to 4:30 p.m. And the Team Camp, where you can come with your team for either one day or both days. You can come with your squad and go off against teams that you may not see. August 5th and 6th, varsity and JV teams are welcome. For more information on all of this, go to NateChampionBasketball.com. There is space open for the Prospect, Kids, and Team Camps. They're going to be held at Moyne College, and they're coming up here, rapidly approaching here for June and August. So make sure you apply, especially to the Prospect Camp that's coming up this Saturday, June 11th, by going to NateChampionBasketball.com. My good friend, Nate Champion, thank you as always, sir, for all that you bring to the table. Thank you for some laughs this morning, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right, see you.
See you. That coming from Nate Champion one more time. here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Man, that's my game. That's my jam, baby. I shot threes. So, and I still do. And, you know, I love the game of basketball. I think eventually, somewhere in my future here, there has to be, you know, some type of pickup stuff or doing some type of, you know, practice out there and just keeping myself fresh and whatnot. Because I definitely, you know, I love the game. And when I talk about it, I'm like, man, why am I not out there playing with some people and just learning and growing and blossoming? I don't care who it is. You know, I don't care, you know, as long as it's good people that get together and have fun. So, you know, that's on my mind right now, right? To train my body, get out there and play. Because I love it. I love it. I love to shoot around. I love to just be a part of it. I love to just hang out. So I definitely appreciate all of that. And the game of basketball gave back to me so much. I mean, it's one of the places that I feel comfortable and safe, and I mean, it's a sanctuary for me, and I'm sure that Nate can speak to that. And listen, Nate played in college. I did not. You know, Steph Curry is a friggin' one of the greatest players ever, and you know, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I love this game, and you know, I love this game deeply, and it has always been good to me. So I love talking basketball. I love playing basketball, and I love reminiscing on those stories. You know, when you make that three and you just look over and you just shake your head and you're just like, hey, you know, it went in. I mean, and I think that's what I said to my parents after the game. I'm like, it went in, didn't it? So, you know, you got to have fun with it. So with that being said, make sure you sign up for these camps. Awesome opportunity. Nate's a great guy. And, you know, his staff and, you know, everybody that's going to be there, you know, I trust him to put together a good group of people to help train you because he's good people. And so make sure you head out there. Listen, we've had camps taken away from us. We've had the ability to, you know, go to Lemoyne in his case and even be on campus. So we've had the camp taken away. We've had the locations taken away, you know, and I said that I hope that we all realize of everything that we've been through, that once we get back to some normalcy, which I feel like we're in right now, that we don't forget, outside of gas prices, you know, but that's a different story, but that we don't forget, you know, that we really don't forget where we've been, you know, because it's incredibly important. It's incredibly important to remember what we've all been through. You know, we went through a lot. We went through a lot in this world. By the way, massive shout out to, I'm watching, you know, here in the studio, we got the TV in the background here. And there was a WNBA shot last night. It was just awesome. I just love half-court buzzer beater shots. There was one in the WNBA. There's one in the NBA last night. It's awesome. So, and just reminiscing here over the weekend. So really, really cool. But I digress. But yeah, no, I mean, also having to do with the sport of basketball. But to me, we've had so much taken away from us. So much that it would be foolish and just wrong. And it would really show that we didn't learn anything if we're in a situation where, you know, we don't appreciate everything that we have back now, you know, and to have these camps for a Lemoyne coach to be able to be on Lemoyne campus to hold his camp, for, you know, there to even be a camp. We can't forget about how important they are and how much this means. So if you love basketball, if you want to go and you want to get recruited, if you want to do something with your team, if coaches are looking for opportunities, if you're a kid and you, like me, just want to go and do your camps, because I did camps for years as a kid in the summer, you know, then get yourself out there and get involved. And listen, it's not going to hurt you to go out to these camps, right? It's going to make you better if you let it. And you got a good person leading it, Nate Champion. You got a great school in Lemoyne, and you got a great opportunity. Go to NateChampionBasketball.com. That's NateChampionBasketball.com and sign up today to be a part of either the prospect camp, the kids camp, or the team camp. Once again, go to NateChampionBasketball.com and don't miss out on an opportunity to showcase yourself, to help yourself, and getting looked at by colleges, to help yourself grow as a kid here who's learning the game, and to go out there with your team. And that can also help in recruitment as well, and it can help your team in pushing yourselves to be ready. Listen, extra work for a team can bode very well when you have the opportunity to get out there and have these scrimmages against other teams and see what you're all about before you get into your own individual team opportunities and workouts that you're used to. So make sure that you do that. Make sure you head out there today and do what you can to make yourself better. Like I said, it's can only help you, not hurt you. Great people, awesome opportunity, fantastic college. And if it was me, I'd get my butt out there because I wanted to be recruited. I wanted to showcase myself. And I wasn't always on a team where I felt like I could showcase enough. And some of that was on me, and some of that was out of my control. And so to me, I would love to go to a camp like this so that I can actually show my worth and show what I can do and show that I should be recruited and I should get an opportunity. I would definitely go out to this camp. And there's one starting on June 11th, so make sure you get in touch with them now. Sign up at NateChampionBasketball.com. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll come back in hour number 2. Dave Pasiak's coming up in a little bit to talk all things NBA. We'll ask him some of the questions here that we asked Nate Champion, right? Which one of the 4 would he pick to lead his franchise right now? Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, or Kevin Durant? Feel free to vote. You can vote on our Facebook page at Wake Up Call DT. You can vote on my Instagram story at wakeupcall_DT. And for those of you following me on Twitter, you can vote in that poll on my timeline on Twitter at CallDT. So make sure you follow us there at CALLDT. So you can vote yourself as we talk to Dave about it. And of course, we'll be talking to Dave deeper into the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors, as Golden State was just draining shots and Boston was just looking not great at all by any stretch of the imagination in the second half. So make sure you check that out. And that's all coming up here where sports meets that thing called life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Also, when there's so many people, when there's people that, we talk about this thing where, does this person deserve to be suspended? Does this person deserve to be out and this, that, and whatever? Draymond Green obviously has a separate set of rules because he's so far in one direction. This is the thing. It's like guys that are extra physical and like pushing after the play and this, that, and whatever, that should be a flagrant, that should be a technical, that should maybe kick somebody out of the game at times. Because he does it all the time, it feels like at times, because there's always that like air that he might do something like that. I feel like he gets an extra set of rules, right? Where it's like, okay, well, that's not a Draymond foul because Draymond's really physical. Listen, a foul is a foul, and Draymond Green, for those people that have to, that get suspended for like a dirty play that they've done once in their career when this guy's dirty all day, every day. Listen, I think, if he's on your team, what did Dave Pasiak say? If he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, then you might hate him. But the reality of it all is Draymond Green is a dirty player, and he doesn't get kicked out of games for being dirty. So it's just, that's reality. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But when he got kicked out of one of the other games, he flip off the crowd. So it's like, you know what I mean? He likes being public enemy number one. But I'm just thinking about it from my standpoint, right? That if I hit a guy hard in the NBA and they call, a flagrant foul on me, and then everybody on Twitter's like, oh, you're so dirty, blah, 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 blah. And then here's Draymond Green, like, willing to do literally whatever his magic toy box in his brain can think of to do to somebody. And people are like, well, that's just Draymond being Draymond. It's like, no. If you're laying on the ground after a play and you push somebody and then you try to get in a fight, like, there's no need for that in the NBA, but that's there. Also, looking back at some of the highlights with Steph Curry letting a guy bump into him and pushing him off of him so he could shoot the shot. You just see stuff that happens, right? Some guys get called for stuff where you're like, really? And then other guys get away with murder and you're like, oh, okay. But then people say, well, Dan, Steph is such a great player. He is. It doesn't mean that he gets away with he doesn't get away with a little bit of cheating here and there. But, Draymond Green, we'll talk about it with Dave. It's just, it gets to a point where you're just like, really, bro? Like, you get away with all of that, but we'll talk about it. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. I hope you're having a stupendous, I always say fantastic, so let's say stupendous now. I hope you're having a stupendous morning this morning. I hope that your week is starting off fresh and good. I hope you had a nice weekend. They gave you some rest, gave you some relaxation. My mom made chocolate chip cookies for my fiance and I, so I had a fantastic weekend. It was very good. So my mother's chocolate chip cookies smell and taste the same as when I was a little kid. It's like right there. So shout out to my mom for being awesome and for being sweet, right? I was hanging out with my fiance and my mom was like, hey, I'm out and about and I got something for you and I want to drop it off. And she opened the door and there's her, her her box of cookies and that she makes at home. And those awesome chocolate chip cookies that she makes. So shout out to my mom. If you have a cool mom like mine, shout out to your mom too. And much love to all the moms out there doing great things for their kids. So appreciate you, Mom, and I love you very much. And thank you for being who you are. Feel like we need to say that more often, right? To Mom and to Dad, and for going the extra mile and for out there trying. So thank you, thank you, thank you. With that being said, I do want to give a big time shout out to 3 outstanding companies I'm very happy to work with. They're all outstanding. I want to shout them out though because this weekend we had a Syracuse festival here in downtown, and so I want to shout out Carvel DeWitt and Jay Cartini. You can go and watch the video that I have with Jay on our social media, and of course, Moyne College has a Moyne College Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. They go out there and they do lemonades and funnel cakes and deep fried Oreos, and obviously their kettle corn and their popcorn and so many great things that they have on site. They also have the Spud Shack, and the Spud Shack has ribbon fries and curly fries and regular fries and sweet potato fries. A lot of great stuff there as well. And so I want to shout out Jim and Angela Bell with Moyne College Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory and the Spud Shack. I want to shout out their entire staff. I want to shout out my homegirl JoJo holding it down at Moyne College brick and mortar location at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. I want to shout out Jay Cartini and his team at Carvel DeWitt. And I want to shout out Danny Tilm and his team at the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. They were all at the festival over the weekend. I got to spend some time with all of them, and you can go and see our pictures and our videos on our social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So make sure you check that out. I just wanted to give some love, and because I know they're working hard. They all have their own brick and mortar, and yet here they are out at a festival and putting even more work in and spreading out their staff and making sure that they continue to do events in the community. So it was really fun to see Carvel DeWitt and Moyne College Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory and the Spud Shack, as well as going out there and seeing the Wildcat Sports Pub. So very proud of everybody, and a big shout out again to Jay and Angela and Jim and Danny and Andrea and Johnny and everybody that's out there. So shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for doing the work that you do in our community, and it is a blessing, an honor, and a privilege to be partnered with you. So thank you for that. Outside of that, just wanted to make a note here. We're talking a lot about the NBA, so I want to take the time to speak here with you on the WNBA as well, and show some love here where love is due in the WNBA. As we have the NBA Finals going on, the WNBA is playing their season right now, and I want to give some love here over the weekend. The Lynx took down the Liberty 84-77. The Dream took down the Fever 75-66, and the Sky took down the Mystics 91-82. The Aces over the Wings 84-78. The Mercury over the Sparks 81-74, and the Sun over the Storm 93-86. So a lot of great stuff going on here, and much appreciation to the WNBA. A lot of games in action. So you have an NBA Finals game too, and then you also had a full slate of games there for the WNBA. And I want to definitely, like I said, show love where love is due. Interesting for the Connecticut Sun and Seattle Storm game, as Brianna Stewart, who came from Central New York and played at CNS, Cicero North Syracuse, where my cousins, where my cousin Sammy Tortora played, my little sis Franny played. So much love there. Interesting, Brianna Stewart going from CNS and going to UConn, and then getting drafted by the Seattle Storm and playing up against the Connecticut team. So it was cool to see that. Now, the game was in Seattle, so it wasn't a return home to Connecticut there for her home away from home. But interesting there that the Seattle Storm went up against the Connecticut Sun and played that game. And Brianna Stewart in the game, despite the loss, Brianna in that game had 12 points in 32 minutes, 3 rebounds, as well as 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, and only 1 foul in the game. So definitely pay attention to the WNBA and what's going on with the WNBA. The current standings of the WNBA with 12 teams within it are as follows, and this is what it looks like inside of the WNBA. The Las Vegas Aces are in first place at 10-2, followed by the Connecticut Sun, who are 9-3, the Chicago Sky 7-3, fourth Atlanta Dream 7-4, Washington Mystics 7-5, Dallas Wings 6-5. And then from there, we have the Seattle Storm at 5-5, Breanna Stewart's team, and the Los Angeles Sparks at 5-7. The top 8 teams make the playoffs. So if the playoffs started today, there'd be 4 teams out of it. That's the Minnesota Lynx at 3-8, the New York Liberty at 3-8, the Phoenix Mercury at 3-8, and the Indiana Fever at 3-10. So that is what it looks like right now for these teams. Out of the 12 teams, Las Vegas Aces coming out of the gates and playing the best ball right now, record-wise, 7-1 at home, 3-0 on the 3-1 on the road for a 10-2 record. So big shout out to Breanna Stewart from Central New York and CNS, and a big shout out to the WNBA, who deserves more shout outs than they get. So much love to the WNBA, and we'll continue to cover them as we move forward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. With that being said, good morning to my mom. I hope she got to hear my comment about her awesome cookies. So big shout out to Mama. Love you and appreciate you very much, Mom, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic morning this morning, and I look forward to seeing you soon. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break and come back here with Dave Pasiak, where sports meets that thing called life, from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, talking NBA right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. We're having fun here with you. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street. All of those locations in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. And you can find them on the corner on the 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown striped building. You cannot miss it. It's it's literally where all the roads converge in Manlius. Staring right in front of you is that Cafe Kubal, the double-decker cafe that has now expanded their parking lot. So make sure you go out to Manlius and enjoy that too. 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. With all that being said, I am so happy to be here with you where sports meets that thing called life inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. And as we continue in MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', you heard from Nate Champion in hour number 1, and now it's time to jump to another coach here with connections to Central and Upstate New York, and that is Mr. Dave Pasiak. Dave joining us from the NVU Linden Hornets men's basketball team, where he is the head coach and has been the head coach for the last few seasons here for their Division III program out in Vermont. And he is here with us as our longtime basketball analyst to speak on what's going on in the world of the NBA. We'll talk NBA Finals as well as the NBA as a whole, and we'll pose some questions to him that we were talking about earlier on here in the show. So with that being said, let's bring in Dave for what I like to call DT and DP. Dave Pasiak, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Dan. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing better than Celtics. So, taking a look at at this this matchup that we've seen here in Golden State, right? And both of the games being played in California at Golden State, and seeing the Golden State Warriors in game number one. I mean, and I have both things brought up here, and to kind of look at the juxtaposition. I want to break it down by player, though, and kind of take a look at this. But in game number one, we saw a victory by 12 for the Boston Celtics, the road team. And then last night, we saw a 19-point victory for Golden State. But Golden State was playing their bench, in the fourth quarter and whatnot. And so I think this game could have gotten even more out of hand, honestly. But this is where we ended up, and this is essentially what it looks like now in a 1-1 series. Bring me into your take on it, because I want to get into Tatum and Smart and all these guys individually, but overall in kind of a broad paintbrush scope as we start the conversation about this, just what your thoughts were watching the game yesterday and that game one, and just seeing the difference between the two here in Boston getting a victory and then Golden State coming out and up by 2 at halftime, 52-50, and then just blowing the roof off in the third quarter, and then the bench taking care of business for Golden State in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think we were talking off there. I think the biggest thing is Golden State was in a must-win situation last night. I think had they gone down 0-2, dropping 2 games at home, I think it would be a really, really tall order to expect them to come back and win 4 out of 5 against Boston. And, having to take at least a couple in Boston. So I think Golden State winning kind of kept the outcome of the series in question and kept alive. Now, the flip side of that, if you're Golden State, you feel like you should be up 2-0, because really Golden State got much the better to play for 3 quarters in game one, and then Boston went on a tremendous run in the fourth quarter and really kind of surprisingly played like the more composed team in the fourth quarter and really won going away. So, I think if you're the Warriors, on the one hand, you feel good that you got back in the series. On the other hand, you feel like you probably should be up 2-0. If you're Boston, I think you're, going in, you have to figure going in, Boston's objective was to get a split in Golden State, and they got that. And then the way the third quarter unfolded last night, it's like I was telling you off air, it reminded me of the Warriors back in the heyday, with KD and, Iguodala when he was, probably closer to his prime. They had the death lineup, and that was their calling card, and the Warriors were notorious for coming out of the locker room at halftime and just blitzing their opponent at the start of the third quarter. I thought there was kind of homage to that last night as much as anything. It comes down to, as much as Boston is really an elite defensive team and Golden State is a surprisingly, that's a team that in the past had never hung their hat on being a particularly good defensive team, but they, they this year have kind of transformed a little bit with some of their young guys and have kind of developed into one of the better defensive teams in the league also. But all that being said, coming right down to it, I mean, making shots and in the NBA, contrary to, a lot of people, it's kind of coach speak to say defense wins championships. But the fact is in the NBA, great up, Mark Jackson loves to say a good defense, better offense, and I think fourth quarter game one, third quarter last night, I think, were examples of that where, the Celtics in game one and the Warriors last night just got it going offensively. And there weren't a lot of defensive adjustments to be had because it was just better offense.
Yeah, and we look at this, and like I said, to get more specific into it, too, kind of interesting here. And we talked about, going into the series, right, who our catalysts were going to be, besides the typical names, who do we think, and he really needs to step it up for their respective teams in order to take this home. And Boston in their win, 120-108, we saw Jason Tatum have 12 points in 42 minutes, but Jaylen Brown had 24 points, Marcus Smart had 18, and Al Horford had 26. In game number 2, Tatum had 28 points in 34 minutes, but got almost no help. 17 points from Jaylen Brown, 2 from Marcus Smart, and 2 from Al Horford. So we see Marcus Smart and Al Horford in game one combine for 44 points, and in game 2 combine for 4. So 40 points less they go, and then we see Jaylen Brown with 7 points less. So, people want to look to maybe Jason Tatum and say, okay, well, look at him. In game 1, he was a relative non-factor scoring the ball. And then in game 2, look, he does so well. But the reality of it all is this starting 5 was offering something in game 1, right? Marcus Smart was bringing the offense, and Jaylen Brown and Al Horford was playing out of his mind. And I talked about how, in my opinion, he needed to be one of those spotlight guys besides Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to bring it home. And in game number 2, the numbers for Jason Tatum are strong. 6 for 9 from 3-point, 8 for 19 from the field, 6 for 8 from the charity stripe, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He did have 4 turnovers, but 28 points in 34 minutes. What can you say about that as we dive into this deeper and take a look at the starting 5 for the Boston Celtics, where Jason Tatum didn't have to do it all in game 1. He didn't have to do much. But in game number 2, 2 out of the starting 5 were not even there. And then Jaylen Brown obviously was a little more quiet. But, you and I brought up the importance of Marcus Smart and Al Horford, and they were all but invisible in game number 2 in Golden State.
Yeah, you want to know the really interesting number? Tatum was minus 36 last night.
Yeah.
And so in a game that they lost by 19. So, as strong as his individual numbers were, they were not good with him he was on the floor the third quarter. Another difference there, and a lot of times, the role players can kind of be the determining factor in the series. So, in game 1, as poorly as Tatum shot, he had 13 assists and really had a nice game as a facilitator. So he created some good looks for Horford, for Brown, for Smart, for Derek White. And Boston got really good play out of their role players. You go to last night, you mentioned it, not much out of, basically nothing out of Horford, nothing out of Smart, not a whole lot out of Derek White or Robert Williams, nothing out of Robert Williams. And you flip the script to Golden State, I thought really, Curry obviously had, he had a volume night, 9 for 21 and everything. And they really had a poor, it was interesting to watch Steve Kerr leave Klay Thompson out there trying to get him going because he had a really poor shooting night. But I thought the difference last night, I think the Golden State role players, I thought they got really good play out of Poole, and then a lot of high energy play, really positive stuff out of Looney and out of Wiggins. I thought those guys really energized the Warriors in a way that they didn't in game 1. Wiggins scored a bunch in game 1, but I thought just the energy and kind of the bounce in their step that they got from those guys, Wiggins, Looney, and Poole, I thought really was, probably the key factor last night.
Yeah, and Poole, obviously we see the shot inside a half court, but that long range 3, in the third quarter, everything was dropping for Golden State, and that obviously is a massive part of their success last night and going into this morning. But we're seeing what Golden State can do, and it begs the question. And I understand that nobody's superhuman, right? Like, we're all human. We can all bleed. We all have moments where we're tired, or the man's gone through injury, the guy I'm about to talk about. But Steph Curry, can he be guarded? Is the question, Dave. A simple screen there, a quick screen, he comes off of it, he launches a lean-in long-distance 3, and it drops down like it's a nothing shot, like it's a floater, right? The man can shoot from anywhere. I know that my Raptors won a championship a few seasons ago, and, Golden State was on the other side of it and whatnot. So I know what, I know that Golden State can lose, and I understand that, there's a way to get involved, but every time I watch him shoot, and this is from Davidson, this isn't just when he came to the Warriors, this is back in college, can Steph Curry truly be guarded? Or is this just one of those things where it's like, hey, we'll do everything we possibly can, but we kind of understand he's going to have at least 20 points in the game?
Well, the answer is yeah, he can. But he's an elite shooter. So he's going to have nights where he's not guardable and everything's going in. But his track record in the finals is not that great. Curry's never been an MVP. I mean, the first championship, Iguodala was the MVP, and then then he won 2 championships with Durant as being the best player and the MVP. So I think in terms of Curry's legacy, this is a big series for him because if Boston should win or if Golden State should win and somebody else is the MVP, the early returns would say if Golden State wins, Curry would be the MVP, but we got a lot of series left. But he's been, I don't want to say ordinary because he's been good, but he hasn't been elite level Curry in the finals in the past. So, I think this is a big series for him and his legacy. Boston, I thought, schemed him great the last 3 quarters of game 1. They had a scheme that I didn't understand at all coming out of the gate with drop coverage and letting him just come off screens and shoot, and he got off to a great start. But then, the last 3 quarters of game 1, Curry wasn't a huge factor at all. So, I think he's gonna like great shooters and great players. He's gonna have nights where everything goes in. But I think over the long haul, they can scheme and take him away, and but then they're going to give up other things. And Poole shooting well last night kind of covered up for the fact that Klay Thompson's not shooting well. So
yeah.
they're going to need something out of Klay Thompson before the end of this series if they're going to win it.
Yeah, and that's. But the firepower of the Warriors is obviously, it's there and it's visible and I mean it is. I mean it's debilitating at times. What do you see from Boston though in these first 2 games though? I mean, even as well as Golden State shot and really took care of that third quarter where they ballooned the game up when they were up by 2 at halftime, 52-50. What is it about Boston that makes you believe that they can win this series?
Well, I think it's their overall length and Boston. I mean, Boston's got some weapons too. I mean, Tatum and Brown, and Boston's got some guys that can score and play at an elite level as well. And they've got length and versatility that I think a lot of teams in the league don't have. And I think on the Golden State side, getting a game like they got last night from Looney, I think, is key because if he's effective and a positive factor out there, he's like the one guy that can negate a little bit of the size and length that Boston has. If they're not getting much out of him, they become really small, and that plays even more into the Celtics' hands. So, I think it's anybody's series right now. I think if Boston wins 2 at home, they're in the driver's seat. The Warriors get a split in Boston, then things kind of tip back in their favor. So, I think that, like I said, the big thing Boston has going is their length and their versatility defensively that I think can give Golden State problems that other teams don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you talk about the length and versatility, right, and what they could do in the game itself to help themselves out there. But the physicality on the other side of it, we've talked about him before, and, we're here with Dave Pasiak, longtime basketball coach and analyst. He is the NVU Linden Hornets men's basketball head coach in Vermont there for Division 3. Dave, Draymond Green, I mean, you and I have talked about this too, what's a flagrant, what's not a flagrant, what's a flagrant 1, what's a flagrant 2, what warrants kicking a guy out of a game. There's a separate set of rules, I feel like, for Draymond. I feel like it's, that's Draymond being Draymond, and, that's just who he is, right? Dennis Rodman was Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer was Bill Laimbeer, and you look to some of these players and you say, okay, well, they're a little bit more physical, so we're not going to call as many fouls, or we're not going to eject this person from the game. But to me, I mean, I think you said it, that if Draymond's on your team, you love him, and if he's not, then you have a severe dislike for him. But I'm looking at this, saying to myself, I mean, Draymond he likes being public enemy number one. He likes being a nuisance. He likes trying to get in people's heads. But is it good for the game? And is it good? I mean, we see last night, right? And it's just the push afterwards, things that normal players don't get away with, right? Somebody doesn't get away with that, and it seems like Draymond has almost created this world where people are like, okay, well, we know that he's going to be a jerk to the other team. We know he's going to, he's going to be physical. He's going to hit you after the play. He's going to scream at you. He's going to yell at you. He's going to say things in your ear. He's going to do this and that. I mean, is there a Draymond Green rule, where Draymond kind of has a little bit more time to be physical? And what do you think about the Draymond Green place in the NBA? Because I just get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, I understand what he's doing, but then it comes to a point of aggravation where I'm like, this guy is I don't want to see it anymore. So, I mean, where do you live in the Draymond Green saga?
Well, I mean, watching it and not really having a dog in the fight, there's a little bit of like nails on the chalkboard, watching Draymond out there. I think on the plus side, I think he's a really smart player. And in a lot of ways, he's a team-first, unselfish player because he does a lot of things to either facilitate for other guys, cover up for other guys. So I think in a basketball context, he does a lot of really positive things out there. His act does get a little old. And like last night, I put out on social media, I thought that Van Gundy was saying I was good officiating to not, Draymond got, after he got the first tech, he got involved in that little dust up. Van Gundy, he's talking about how it was good officiating not to call double tech. And in today's NBA, those kind of interactions are almost always result in double technical. And there's no question that the officials were cognizant of the fact that that Green already had one tech, and if they called the double tech, he'd be out of the game. And so I thought it was a little bit gutless officiating, to be honest with you. I thought in the game today, those kind of actions result in a technical. Now, in other eras, would that kind of exchange result in T? Probably not. But in the game today, and the way the game is typically called today, I thought there, it warranted a double T there, which would have taken Draymond out of the game for the rest of the game. Don't think it would have changed the outcome given the way the Warriors shot in the second half, but who knows? He's such a big facilitator piece, so who knows?
Yeah, and I saw that you had made that comment, and you had put it out there publicly. Your thoughts on that? That if it, and you've always been a proponent of that. Like if it is, it is. If that's the call to make, then that's the call to make. Yeah, I don't care if it's the end of the game. I don't care if it's the beginning of the game, and or when it is in the game. If that is the call, then that is the call, and that is the call that you're supposed to make. I'm in agreement with you. What it is what it is, and like you said, I mean, and I think you put it well, nails on a chalkboard. I get to a point with Draymond where I'm just like, you know what? Okay, like we get it. You're physical. You like being a nuisance. You like annoying people. But it comes to a point where I'm just like, dude, it's like it's annoying me to watch you play basketball. Like because you're not playing basketball. You're just being that like jerk. I mean, honestly, if he had no talent whatsoever, he would be that guy that would be at like the local gym, the local YMCA down the road, right, at pastimes or whatever, and he'd be the one that somebody would put on the team and be like, yo, this is a guy that like we really need to like score minimally, so just be really physical, cheap shot him, say things in his ear, talk about his mother, talk about his sister. Like it's not. And I had this with Dennis Rodman. Like, there were moments with Dennis Rodman where you kind of just laugh and shake your head. And there were moments with Dennis Rodman where you're like, wow, dude, like, just get off the floor. Like, this is just, it's too theatrical and it's annoying. But I just, Dave, you and I have talked about other guys that have received flagrant calls and guys that have received suspensions for like a first-time incident. I feel like if that's the case, then Draymond is like a suspension. I'm going to make up a word, I think, here today. He's a suspensionable character at all times, If some of the things I've seen can suspend you or get you called for a tech, then I'm looking at Draymond as a guy that I could legitimately suspend it at any time. I mean, this is also the guy that got ejected from a game and flipped off the crowd. I mean, at what point do you just, I mean, and is there a window there? I mean, you're a basketball coach, so is there this window that Draymond knows that he's passed where it's like, I'm so bad and I'm so ridiculous and I'm so off the wall and I'm so physical that they can't possibly suspend me every time because I'd be suspended for half the year? Does he kind of know that he can push his luck a little bit more, in your opinion?
Probably. Like I said, he's a pretty smart character as a player goes. And I think, you draw the comparisons to Rodman. I think Rodman was just out there, and Rodman had a lot of off-the-court things too. Rodman drew a lot of negative attention to himself and to his team and everything off the court as much as on. Draymond, you don't hear that kind of stuff. So with Draymond, I tend to believe a lot of it is more calculated. And he's trying to do the things that he does to gain an edge and, gain a reaction, gain a response from the other team, get in the guy's head, cause him to lose focus, whatever. So, I think in Draymond's case, I think a lot of his antics are, premeditated and calculated. That said, he's been very fortunate to have landed where he landed, because I think he's on a team where they don't need him to, he's never going to be the focal point of the offense. He's a great enforcer and complementary player to guys like Curry and Thompson and the people that have gone Durant and whatnot, the people that have come through Golden State. So I think he's been fortunate to land there. He's been smart enough to know that he's got a good thing, and I don't think he could go to a random lower tier, mid tier NBA team and have the same impact that he has at Golden State, because of what they ask him to do, versus if he went to a team with less talent, they would ask him to do more. And I don't know that he's got more. I don't know that there's more that he can produce.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think, like you said, he's on a team where he can do this, right? Because Steph Curry's taking care of the threes, and then you have other guys like Poole that could do that, and you got some guys that can help out on the inside at times, and you have Klay Thompson doing his work and whatnot. So, it's not Draymond doesn't have, he can score 8 points and just be a terror out there and be that mind game guy. I just get to a point where I'm just like, I mean, it's just like I always play the game kind. I feel like I was always up to get the sportsmanship award. I didn't get in fights with people and whatnot, and I take charges and all that. I feel like even I would get to a point with Draymond Green if I was playing in the NBA right now, where I'd be like, dude, we're not friends. Don't shake my hand after the game. Don't talk to me after the game. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to be about it. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I guess Golden State can laugh it off. But I feel like even at a certain point, Steph Curry's even got to be like, bro, just shut up. Let's just play basketball. You're shutting the game down. Just stop. So, I mean, I guess it's you have the dog on in the neighborhood that bites people. And I mean, I guess it's not right that a dog bites somebody, but it's your dog and it makes you feel safer. I don't know, but it gets to a point with me, Dave, where I just feel like I woke up this morning and I wanted to talk about it because I'm watching the playback, and I just got to a point where I'm just like, it's old for me. And I feel like these guys that are appealing suspensions have every right to. When I see Draymond Green do 10 things in one game that's worse than their one move. That one head hit that we talked about a couple weeks ago, where it doesn't look like he necessarily went after the head maliciously. And then now we're talking about Draymond, who's involved in multiple altercations in one game. So I'm not for the special set of rules things. I'm not a fan of that. Dave Pasiak here with us, and a longtime basketball coach and analyst. We're talking NBA Finals and all things NBA. Let's stay with Draymond Green. Let's talk about the Kevin Durant thing. Should Kevin Durant be looking back on a decision that he made and maybe not being so proud of it? What are your thoughts on this? I'm not a person for regret, and I can't speak for a man and what he wants to do and whatnot. I did find it a little bit surprising that Kevin Durant would go. I did and I didn't. I found it surprising in the sense of he could have kept winning championships with Golden State. I didn't find it surprising in the sense of the fact of maybe he wanted to prove that he could do it somewhere else and he could be the focal point, because Steph Curry is a big focal point of the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson has to get his shots in too. So what is your take on the Kevin Durant situation? And now that he's had a couple of years with the Brooklyn Nets, hindsight 2020, what's your take on the fact that, he left a championship team that is vying for another championship without him, has won a championship without him, has won with him, and potentially could have continued to win with him?
I'm not inside his head, so I don't know what, other than what you hear. But it seemed like he was, he got a lot of flack. Like, I find it kind of ironic that, like, people question, well, should he have left Golden State? Some of those are the same people that thought were trashing him for going to Golden State in the first place.
Yeah.
I think he went there with a really specific goal, was to win a championship or win championships, and he did that. And I think he was ready to move on to the next challenge, and wanted to be in New York City and Brooklyn, and thought it would work with, with Kyrie and Harden, and it didn't pan out the way they thought, and a variety of reasons for that. But I'm guessing he doesn't necessarily have a lot of regret about going to Brooklyn, versus if he had stayed in Golden State. And I mean, his book isn't closed. Maybe he'll win a championship in Brooklyn. So, I mean, that still remains to be seen.
So, coming off of that, I'm going to ask you to pick one player. And you're in today's NBA. You're the general manager of an NBA team. You're putting together your team right now, but it's today's NBA. So the players are this age. You're going off of what you're seeing right now. You can have Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, or Kevin Durant to lead your franchise. Who do you pick and why?
Right now, today, I'm picking Luka. In their prime, LeBron, no question. But right now, today, LeBron is clearly, on the backside of his career, and Durant is, Durant is probably, past the peak of his career, although he's still an elite player, and he's healthy and got it going and everything, still, a top 2 or 3 or 4 player in the world. But I would, I think Doncic, what he did with Dallas and carrying them, and if, they get the right parts around him, he's the youngest guy in that group, and I think he has, still has, the longest runway in front of him. So, to me, that's if I was picking between those 4, it would be easily Luka right now today.
Yeah, and in a talk with Nate Champion about it in hour number 1, he said the same thing because of where Luka is in his career. What can you say about Luka Doncic and where things are right now? I mean, he's early on in his career. You would pick him to lead your franchise if it was right now in this moment. And as he goes forward, if you were the Mavericks leader, right? If you took Mark Cuban's job and you were there making decisions and whatnot, What would you do with the Dallas Mavericks right now, knowing that you have Luka and knowing that you want to keep Luka? What would you do?
Well, I think what they need is like a number 2 or a 1A option to go that will fit next to him.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit. Luka's the highest usage guy in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's so ball dominant that I think for Dallas to take the next step, they need, and I don't know if Brunson's this guy or not, but they need a guy to put next to him, that can shoulder the load. And he's also got to develop a little bit more trust in his teammates and become a little more of a facilitator and not be quite as ball dominant, I think. It's a little bit, it's going to have to be a little bit like when Dallas won a championship with Nowitzki, where they really had one guy that they played through, and the pieces around him were just like kind of acquiesced to that and, allowed everything to go through Dirk. And, with Luka, it's a little bit the same thing, but I think their next move to take that next step as a franchise is to try to acquire a kind of a running mate for him that can, burden some of the load when teams load up on him.
Yeah, and I think that, obviously the Dirk years were very special. And if we molded Dirk with Luka and we were able to see them together, and let's say, Dirk was a few seasons in and Luka was a couple of seasons in himself, what would that have done to the NBA if we saw Dirk and Luka today in like their prime play?
Well, it would be interesting. Obviously they're both international players, and the game has been more international. Certainly changes the trajectory. Kind of keeps Dallas at a championship elite level for a much longer window. But I think you can probably say the same thing. If you could project other guys. LeBron goes to LA, a little bit younger player. Maybe things are different there. Or we talked about Durant going to Brooklyn. So, so I mean, it's conjecture, but I think it would have kept the Mavs at that elite level, probably for a longer period of time. Not to get off that subject too much, but it's interesting that you didn't mention Giannis in your guys to start a franchise with, because I think after Luka, he would probably be the next guy.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, and people can obviously, feel free to write in, but there's a lot of different people that come to my mind that, I want to put on there and to start my franchise and to put within that, and I think Giannis is one that makes sense. Obviously, Luka, I know, LeBron's, as we talk about on the tail end, you look at Steph, you look at Kevin Durant, but, there's other people. I mean, somebody might say, okay, Dan, what about Jason Tatum? When I'm starting my franchise off, I got Jason Tatum in my franchise. So, there's a lot to be said about that. And the Giannis side of things, I think he obviously is a huge, especially recently here, a big part of showing what success can look like and getting the right players around him that aren't household names, but they become household names after seeing Milwaukee's, success over the last couple seasons. So, there is something to say about that. And I said, a healthy Kawhi Leonard, in the good, at a time in his career and seeing what he could do. I mean, I think when he went over to the Clippers, there was that thought that, okay, look at what you did in Toronto. Now we're going to go here and we're going to be the team in LA and we're going to vie for championships. And that didn't work out. So, I mean, there's different players out there, so I can understand your sentiment about that. We do have Game 3 coming up here. A series is tied 2-2. We're heading to Boston. Boston's got to take at least one of these. If they take two, I agree with Dave that we're living in a Boston world at that point. The game comes up this Wednesday, June 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC is the next game that we have on the schedule. And Dave, of course, will be with us as we carry on through these NBA Finals. And as always, Mr. Pasiak, I appreciate the time that we get to spend together and all the good things that we've gotten to do. So much appreciation to you, and a big thanks to you for being a part of the show and for all that you do in the basketball world for your own student athletes and assistant coaches, as well as, for just looking at basketball in general and taking a peek into all these different topics. It's always fun to talk with you, and time always goes by fast in a good way, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I always appreciate speaking with you. Enjoy it, and hopefully we'll chat again soon and have a nice competitive, long-running 6 or 7 game series to talk about.
Yep, hoping we're going 7 here, so we'll see how it goes here. And as always, Dave, I look forward to talking with you in just a little bit.
Okay, talk to you again soon, Dan.
All right, take care.
Yep, bye.
That coming from Dave Pasiak one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Definitely appreciate it, and am very happy to be able to have Dave here on the show with us, as we have had him for 11 years. So since coming back to Syracuse, he has been probably my most consistent guest. So a big thanks to Dave Pasiak for that, and a big thanks to you for being a part of the show. So with that being stated, I want to thank you all for tuning in every Monday through Friday to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. You're watching and listening on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, of course, on mixlr.com /Wake Up Call DT, and on Facebook.com /Live Now DT, as well as WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. Always happy to have you here, where sports meets life, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And once 11 a.m. Eastern Time, I should say. And once the shows go live, they jump into the archives on Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, as well as iTunes and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, MixLR, and you'll also find them by going to Audible and Amazon Music. You can ask your devices to search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any of your Google devices, as well as asking Alexa. I want to thank all of our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond: Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Honda City Liverpool, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, and Mother's Cupboard. And of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the proud multimedia marketing partner exclusively of your Moyne College Dolphins. It is fins up all the time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here, where sports meets that thing called life. So we definitely appreciate you being here. It's fins up, like I said, all the time when it comes to our Dolphins coverage all throughout the year. We appreciate the Moyne College Dolphins, and we bring you their stories every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We have AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. And every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into stories from coaches, administration, student athletes, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can check out all that by going to our Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com, our YouTube channel, youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. And of course, you can get more information by going to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. You can check out the Pacers every Friday around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time to round out the week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So make sure you check them out there. Of course, our Pacers, you can get to all of our information with the Marywood University Pacers by going to the Marywood tab on WakeUpCallDT.com and subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Make sure you check out those Marywood Pacers with us on Fridays, and of course all the way through the year. Get more information by going to MarywoodPacers.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month, and we just got to feature a Bobcat Buzz with Mekhi Reed on the heels of him committing to play basketball for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. On the men's basketball side, gaining Mekhi Reed from Syracuse Academy of Science here in our community. So a big thanks to Mekhi Reed for letting us be a part of that, and for Clay Gagan Sherman. We love running our specials with you every single month when it comes to the Bobcats and our Bobcat Buzz. Check it out by going to bscsyr on the wakeupcalldt.com site. You can go to the BSC tab for Bryan and Stratton College coverage. Of course, subscribe to us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And for more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show, and I want to implore you to be with us the rest of the week and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Head out to Cafe Kubal and support local today. 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse at their drive-through location. So make sure you head out there. A big thanks to Nate Champion. Sign up for his camps at natechampionbasketball.com. That's natechampionbasketball.com. And of course, thank you to Dave Pasiak as well. And find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. God bless, no stress, do your best, and Wake Up Call will be here with you very soon. And come see us tonight as we celebrate the incredible Baldwinsville Bees girls lacrosse team, as they're not only Class A Section 3 champions, but they won their regional game in states and move on in the state playoffs. Very excited for that. So come out and see them tonight at Pizza Man. Tonight, Monday, June 6th at 6. So very, very easy to remember. June 6th at 6 p.m. on the stage. We'll see you at Pizza Man tonight with the Baldwinsville Bees girls lacrosse team.